5:51 p.m. And before we start the roll call, I do not know if she is present with us right now, but I would like to extend our warmest welcome to Miss Tebbets, I believe. She would be our new supervisor for the Winston-Salem Youth Advisory Council. And she is not present with us right now, but if she does get to join, we do extend our warmest welcome to her. I will now be passing on the microphone to Gufran for our roll call.
Madam Vice Chair, before we move on, just a point of clarification. Eleanor Tebbets is on our staff, but she is not going to be the new liaison for Youth Council. Actually, Miss Erica Simon, who is on, will be helping out the Youth Council for now. She's also new to the staff, and I will remain your advisor. But for the liaison for YAC, we do have Miss Erica Simon, who is with us now. And if you'd like, she can certainly say a few words to you all. But Eleanor has been kind enough to help us out with the link for now until we can get the transition fully worked out.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that, Miss.
That's
Simon.
okay.
Confused, but yes, I would extend our warmest welcome to Miss Simon. If you would have any words, please, we're all open to listen.
Good evening, all. Again, my name is Erica Simon. I am new to the staff, and I am stepping in as your liaison for now. I've been watching what you guys have been doing, and it is awesome. I've been working behind the scenes already for you for a few things, and I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to do.
Thank you very much. We're very excited to have you with us. Gufran, as you may, proceed with the roll call, please.
All right, roll call. So gonna start it off with Atkins Michael Gallagher. Okay. Atkins Max Chen.
Here.
Okay. Career Center Nasi Babgweni.
Here.
Carver Leah Rayford. Okay. Early College Jacob Taylor.
Present.
Jada Taylor. Okay. East Forsyth Gracie Brown. Okay. Middle College Jayla Paige Thomas. Right.
Present.
Okay. Kennedy High Jordan Moore.
Present.
Okay. Jeremiah Washington. Okay. Mount Tabor Michaela Beard. Okay. Jennifer Menjivar Mejia. Okay. Natapat Rungrat. Okay. Madison Williams. Right. North Forsyth Nicholas Spencer.
Here.
Okay. Reagan High Daniel Reyes. Okay. Ava Banner.
Present.
Lucy Blackman. Okay. Reynolds Addison Truzy. Okay. Parkland High Tristan Dawson. Okay. Litzy Castillo Oliveira. I know she said she was here, but she has a sore throat. And myself, Gufran Abd, here. Winston-Salem Prep Serenity Hextall. Right. Aranza Cortez Arana. All right. Walkertown High Kaya Newton Roseboro. All right. Brittany Speaks. Okay, that concludes our roll call.
And Madam Vice Chair, we had some excused absences. Sorry about that. Gufran, I don't know if you had those or if Ava had them. I think I forwarded the ones that I knew of to you.
All right. Got him. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So we would just need to have those names read out, the names in the schools, so that YAC can vote on whether or not to approve the excused absence requests.
Okay. I think you may have forwarded them to our vice chair, Ava. I don't see them in my inbox.
Okay.
I do not have them in my inbox as well, but I do believe I know who they are. If we can still proceed with that, if that's okay.
That sounds good. Great.
All right. It was Daniel Reyes. He requested an unexcused absence. And for these, we just do a roll call vote, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Gouffron?
Oh, excuse me. I know we had one other. I think it was Jada Taylor.
I believe it's Jada Taylor and Addison Truzzi as well.
That's correct. So you all can vote on all three at the same time.
All right.
All right. A roll call vote will now be held to approve our excused absences. Okay, so we have, Atkins Max Chen.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
Career Center Nasi Pangweni.
Aye.
Early College Jacob Taylor.
Aye.
Middle College Jayla Paige Thomas.
Aye.
Okay. Kennedy High Jordan Moore.
Aye.
North Virginia Spencer.
Aye.
Reagan High Ava Banner.
Aye.
Parkland High Litzy Castillo Oliveira. If you could, okay, there. She said aye in chat. Okay, myself, Gouffron Abd, aye. And that concludes our roll call vote.
Awesome. So if we are finished with our excused absences, I would like to proceed onward to the approval of the minutes for last meeting. I believe that they are all attached in the document that Ms. Abraha sent out, but if they are not, I will be sending a link now into the chat so anybody can access them. If everybody could take just a few minutes to review them, if there are any questions, anybody's name is spelled incorrectly, then please let us know.
Recording in progress.
So I do hope that that was enough time for everybody to give a brief overview of the minutes since we are running very short on time. But if that is all, I believe, Litzy, there was an error. So if you could just type that into the chat and we'll try to get that sorted out as soon as possible. But if there are no other questions, then I would like to proceed onwards to making a motion, or yes, to making a motion to approve the minutes. So if I could have anybody make the motion to approve the minutes, please.
I motion to approve the minutes.
And if we could have somebody second that motion, please. Okay, Litzy seconded that motion. So if we can proceed onward with a roll call vote, so we can approve the minutes.
All right. We have Atkins Max Chen,
Aye.
Career Center Nasi Bangweni,
Aye.
Early College Jacob Taylor, Middle College Jayla Page Thomas,
Aye.
Kennedy High Jordan Moore,
Aye.
North Forsyth Nicholas Spencer,
Aye.
Reagan High Ava Banner,
Aye.
Parkland Litzy Castillo Oliveira. Okay, nice. Said aye in chat. Myself, Gufran Abd, aye. That concludes the roll call vote.
Awesome. Now in our agenda, we'll be moving on to our community presentation, and we have Miss Crum here to present. She's the Assistant Planning Director, so if everybody could turn her attention to her, I believe that she has a PowerPoint that she would like to present. Awesome. So sharing your screen, I think, would be the way that would be done. So
Hopefully everyone can see that. Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Crum. I'm the Assistant Planning Director for Planning and Development Services Department. I'll keep it brief on the department side of things of who we are. We are a city county department, and we basically serve two functions. One side of the house does inspections control, and that's for construction. So all your new buildings go through inspections for building code approval. And as also they do zoning enforcement. And zoning is the legal framework that allows folks to use property. So it basically lays out what type of use it can be, whether it be a home or an office, as well as any specifics about size of building, height of building, number of parking spaces, things of that nature. So that's one side of the house. The other side of the department focuses on planning, and we do current planning, which basically entails subdivisions of land, as well as changes of use, allowable use or rezonings. So if someone has a home that they want to use for an office, they'd come to us basically. And what I want to talk to you about today is we do long range planning. This is looking into the future and trying to determine the type of community that we want to be and sort of set a path forward. And so the way we do that is through a comprehensive plan. And so we're gearing up to do a new comprehensive plan, and it's called Forward 2045. You can see the logo there. So what is a comprehensive plan? For those who don't know, it's an official public document that is used to guide growth and development within the community. So you could sort of view it as a Google Maps for growth and development. Basically dictates type of growth we want to see, where we want to see it, what it looks like, what should be preserved, what should be enhanced, those sorts of things. It is community driven. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight, is to allow y'all an opportunity to give some input, but also to just inform y'all of what's going on. And it basically lays the foundation for all the other plans. So we do area specific plans that get down to the property level, as well as topic-based plans like the bicycle or pedestrian plans. City policies can come out of the comprehensive plan, as well as capital expenditures are basically where taxpayer funds go and what they're used for in terms of different projects and initiatives.
It is state mandated that we have a reasonably maintained comprehensive plan because we do our own zoning. So this is a state requirement. So sort of our current comprehensive plan is the Legacy 2030 update. This was adopted in 2012, so it's a little over a decade old. But we've been doing planning for a very long time. We are the first city county planning board in the state, and we were enabled in 1948. So this is our 75th anniversary of sort of existing. But you can see all the different plans from the past listed there. So what does this mean in real time? And so next couple of slides, we'll go over 2 different policy recommendations that were actual policy recommendations out of the Legacy 2030 plan. So you can kind of see how this works. So the Legacy policy was to encourage use of accessory dwelling units in appropriate locations. Accessory dwelling units, for those who don't know, are things like basement apartments or the apartment over a detached garage, or an in-law suite. There's a lot of different names for it. And so that's just the policy. It's very broad-based. And then once the plan was adopted, staff on the planning side of things did some more research and got into the specifics of what other communities are doing, and came up with a recommendation that we took to the public. Public provided input. We tweaked the recommendation a bit, and we came out with the action that was UDO 257 that was approved in 2016. That removed the kinship requirement and changed the approval process. 5 years go by, we reevaluate and see that this isn't working the way we think it should, and it's not really meeting that policy recommendation. So we go back to the drawing board, do some more research, create another recommendation. And early last year, UDO CC 15 was approved, and this changed the approval process to a by right with conditions. So basically, as long as a property owner meets the specified conditions, they can just come in, get a permit, and build their ADU. And since this was adopted, we've had, I think, about 10 or 11 that have been permitted. So this is really meeting what we've intended for it to meet. So we're in good standings. Another policy recommendation was to encourage the formation of public art organization that can facilitate the creation of public art. So essentially creating a public art commission. We are the City of Arts Innovation, but we didn't have a public art commission. And so again, staff did like they normally do. We did some research and provided a recommendation. We basically drafted 2 documents. You can see them listed there in 2014 and 2015 that laid out how that commission could be formed and how it would operate. And then the action that was taken was that the Public Art Commission was formed. It was approved by City Council in 2015 and by County Commissioners in 2016. And since then, they've done a Public Art Master Plan in 2020. And so since its adoption, we've done a lot of public art projects. Obviously, we have the Otter that was on Peters Creek Parkway. We have the mural that's at the fairgrounds. We've done a lot of bus shelter art pieces. You can see 3 of them shown there. I think we're getting ready to do our 3rd round of bus shelter projects, art pieces. We've done public art at libraries. You can see the Central Library there, and then you can see the art pieces at the Benton Convention Center that the Public Art Commission has had a hand in. We have a lot more art pieces coming up. We have art pieces at the Clemens Library getting ready to come up, as well as I think everyone has heard of the Dandelion Project on Business 40. And a lot of other ones are coming up. So they've been very, very busy and very successful. So that's sort of a nutshell of how comprehensive plans work. A couple details about this comprehensive plan that are a little bit different. It is a new plan. It is not an update to the update or Legacy 3.0 or anything like that. It's a new plan. So we don't have to follow the same rules as the last plan. We don't have to carry over anything from the last plan unless it makes sense. New focus can be coming in, new ideas can come in from the plan. It will be a city-county plan, obviously, and it'll be a 20-year plan. And that's one of the reasons why we are here, is to sort of bring your group into the planning process, because this is a 20-year plan. If probably my ages are right, you'll probably be in your mid-30s by the completion of this plan. So you'll be living with sort of the aftermath or the outcome of the recommendations of this plan. So it's very important to get your input in the process. This one will be vision and goal based, not chapter based. So it'll all tie back to that vision and goals that we hear from the public. It will not be a chapter on transportation or chapter on sustainability or anything like that. It'll be really much geared back to that vision and goals that comes from the public input. And it'll be short, or short-ish anyway. Legacy right now is about 250 pages. And I don't think anybody in the public's reading 250 pages. So we want to keep it short, get rid of the planner speech, and really focus on creating a plan that the public can pick up, read, and understand, and know what direction we are heading as a community. Some of the areas of consideration that we have as a staff talked about, obviously equity is a very key topic. We want to address that throughout the entire document, not a blanket statement at the beginning, but throughout the entire document, from the vision, the goals, the recommendations down to the pictures that are used. Obviously, affordability and housing are key focus items currently that we're facing. We are in a housing shortage, which is affecting price and affordability. In terms of resiliency, this talks about climate change. It talks about being economically resilient. We have lost headquarters to major industry over the last 10 years. Also, we're coming out of the pandemic. So what does that mean for our work-life balance? What does that mean for office space, public spaces, any of that? How do we approach that? Adaptability is about being able to sort of pivot and take advantage of new technology that comes up. Things are changing very, very rapidly nowadays. And so being able to be flexible and to not be as reactive to things. Example I give is one day there was no scooters on the road, and literally the next day there were. And so that completely changed things and changed the dynamic of, our public streets, particularly in downtown, and use of our public streets. Accessibility, both in terms of physical access to amenities and resources, but also items such as the digital divide, as well as being an accessible community to people coming here, wanting to move here, wanting to start a business here. The logistics for economic development, this just speaks to having those items in place that makes us attractive for employers. And whether it's, having land availability, infrastructure, a skilled workforce, or having the amenities that makes us attractive to people actually wanting to live here and people wanting to move to our community. Livability is a nice planning term for quality of life. What makes us, everyone in our residents, having a good quality of life, not just, surviving, but really thriving and enjoying life here. Sustainability, both in terms of environmental sustainability and making effective use of our environmental resources, but also in terms of economically sustainable, being economically sustainable, as well as being culturally and socially sustainable, making sure that we maintain who we are and our character and not sort of lose ourselves as we grow. Tourism, this was a sort of interesting topic that's come up in conversations with planning staff. Really, it goes back to making us a destination that people want to come and spend their money, essentially, and make us, attractive. In terms of current history, we focus a lot on the Moravians and R.J. Reynolds, and that's wonderful, and that really speaks to our tourism and attractiveness. But we don't talk a lot about the history of the last decade. And I'm talking about sort of the invention of the suburb, all the annexations that have happened out towards the county, urban renewal, the development of US 52, which was an urban renewal project, sort of white flight, as well as the out of downtown, as well as the resurgence of downtown. All of those factors have really come into play now, and that we're really having to address nowadays in our planning efforts. So looking at the planning process, next steps, obviously we have a website, it's for 2045.com. It's not live. So if you type it in, nothing will come up, but it will be live here in the next couple of weeks, as will a survey be live over the next couple of weeks that I hope everyone would take and share with their families and friends. We are doing stakeholder input meetings. Obviously, this is one of our stakeholder input meetings. We will continue that through the next couple months. And then we'll have public input meetings in the spring. So I know we're short on time, but I do have a couple input exercises I'd just like to get initial feedback from. Again, I really want to stress, we want y'all's involvement in this process. We want high school students and the younger generations to be involved in this process, because you're going to have to live with whatever comes out of this process. When you think a 20-year plan, a lot of people have a hard time thinking that far forward, but you'll be in adulthood and you'll be living with whatever recommendations and policies get set in place because of this plan. So you should have a say in what gets set and recommended. So any way we can get you all involved, I'm all here for any ideas. So if you have any groups, social groups, church groups, after school activities, anything like that you'd like us to come to, we are happy to come to. Just let me know. Just let me know. We will definitely be there for that. With that, I have 3 questions. We'll just spend a couple minutes on, and then I will leave you to the rest of your meeting. So the first one is, if anybody has any thoughts on what amenities or characteristics are important to you. Basically, what is your ideal community? What does it look like? What does it have? Anything like that, if anybody has any thoughts.
Well, I would love to give my input. First off, thank you very much for the presentation. It was very informative, and we'll definitely be looking to ways to be involved as a group. But I think with the ideal community, it's most definitely diverse. It most definitely has like equal opportunity for everybody, regardless of anything. It doesn't matter. And it's also a community that is environmentally sustainable and taking into consideration the effects of our generations on future generations and whatnot.
I'm just taking notes just so we have them. Let me see. I think some folks have items in the chat, which I cannot see. But if I could get a copy of the chat, that'd be great. Anybody else have any other ideas?
Ms. Crum, I will make sure I send you a copy of that.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Really appreciate that. All right.
I really agree with Ava about sustainability. It is like a key factor in the ideal community, and also a community that sees its like population and recognizes its problems. I don't know, stuff like that.
All right. Okay. The next question I have sort of this is really in planning terms what we call SWOT analysis. So this is the SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I don't know how many people are aware of that, but this is the strengths and opportunities question. Basically, what's working? What are the positives in our community that we should be leveraging and building on into the future? And like, what do you like? What do you like that should we keep doing? And again, it could be anything and everything.
I think that I like the amount of beautification that's being done. Like even though I'm allergic to grass and everything, I've been seeing a lot of different types of like tree planting, grass planting. I just see a whole lot of beautification going around in Winston-Salem, especially around Sci Tech. And I think that's a great way that we are trying to build up the future in the community, just being a little bit more greener.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
I would like to say I agree with Jayla. I do like the art going on, like how they have different art pieces around. So I would like to see more of that.
Awesome. And this is, this is for the other side of that. What are some of the weaknesses or threats you see in our community? So what are some of the negatives that we really need to be addressing? Because otherwise we will not be successful. So, or what is our community missing that you'd love to see, but we just don't have going on for us right now?
Personally, I think something that I see a lot in our community, especially having moved here about a year ago, I'd love to see more amenities for houseless people. Like mostly because you see so much of it and it's so prevalent in our community. So maybe more tools to help them out.
I would definitely like to build off what Gufran said, and I would like to speak on the issue. I've seen it's becoming a growing issue in some areas, like the east side of town, gentrification. I really hope for us to avoid that because I do think that it destroys a history that Winston-Salem has built itself on, and that's a very crucial history, and we definitely need to preserve that. And another thing that I would love to see added more to, as Jordan mentioned, is definitely more art, more recreational centers, more parks, anything that people are able to go out and really enjoy and spend their time within Winston-Salem.
Right. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add or type into the chat? Okay. So that's all I had. If you have any questions about the process or how to get involved in the process, or if you think of some great idea or something like that, my contact information is there. It's just amyc@cityofws.org. Shoot me an email. I'd love to have your feedback. If there's a way, if you want me to come speak to a group, I'm all here for it. Please, all you have to do is shoot me an email and we can arrange something. It's very simple. I'd be happy to come to whatever group you got going on. Any way to get y'all involved. Once we have that survey up, I will send it on. So hopefully to either Erica or Wanda so that they can share it with y'all. Please spread it around, with your families, friends, neighbors, classmates, whomever, and take it. It should be a fairly interactive survey. It'll get a little bit in depth, but provide any input you can. We gladly have it, and would love to have it, and try any way you can to get involved in the process. With that, I'll stop sharing my screen here. But with that, if anybody has any more questions or anything for me, if not, I will leave and let y'all go back to the rest of your meeting. And thank you all for your time. I do appreciate being able to come and speak to you. And if you have any planning questions at all, or you want some more information about planning, I'm happy to come and speak about planning, just in general. Just let me know. But again, I do encourage you all to get involved in the process any way you can. Does somebody see a hand raised? Is that just a high five, or does he have a question?
I actually wanted to bring up something that could possibly help in outreach with our demographic. So I don't know if this is true for each and every school in Forsyth County, but I know at Parkland, we have Success Academy every Wednesday, which is a time for if we need to take surveys regarding the school or the community, we take surveys. So maybe you could send a survey for us to take during our Success Academies. That way you could reach a broader demographic of high schoolers. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I've never heard of that, but I will look into it definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, we thank you, Amy. Thank you for taking the time to speak to YAC tonight and as you can see, they have some really good thoughts and ideas, and a lot of stuff was in chat. So again, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this a bunch, but please, we really do want your input. We really do want your input. This is planning tends to be a very slow process, but this is the comprehensive plan is sort of the beginning of that process and really lays the foundation for everything else that comes into the future. So if you have ideas of things you want to see or how you want the city to grow or develop, this is where it starts. So don't hesitate to provide your comments or get involved or show up to a meeting or shoot me an email or whatever way that works for y'all. We really do want your input. So again, thank you all for letting me come, and I will leave you all to the rest of your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Crum. That was it was very, very informational. We most definitely, we will be in touch. Moving on to our next point on the agenda is our general business. So the first point with that would be our committee discussions and updates. So if anybody from the community relations or public relations, government relations, would like to speak on any updates, then they are free to do so.
Public relations should definitely have an update in terms of the newsletter.
Jordan, I did see your hand raised, so if you can just go on and say what
It
you
was just a quick question about the community project and the interviews, but I can wait until after the general business task.
Sure. Okay, great. So you'll definitely be up first when we speak about that, though. So, yes, as Ms. Abraha said, I believe it was the public relations with our newsletter. So if anybody has an update on that, then please, we are most definitely open to listening.
I don't have much to say, but yeah, the fall YAC newsletter is finalized. It was attached in one of Ms. Waldux's emails. Yeah.
Yes, and that's true, Max. And one thing too is that if you all had any corrections or anything that needed to be made in the newsletter, if you would let us know that, then we would definitely correct that, and we'll get that back to you before we publish it. So that's a good thing that you bring up. In the meantime, it's time for you all to think about your spring newsletter. I don't know if you were going to mention that, Max, but it's definitely time for that. And I know that you all should start thinking about topics, right? So I know that Jordan was kind enough to represent the Youth Council at the recent Black History Month Showcase of Song program that was held at Union Baptist Church on Saturday in conjunction with our department. And so everyone was invited to that. So Jordan did attend and she represented YAC. And so Jordan, I don't know, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to write an article about that, for instance, that would be a great article for the spring. And any other things that you all would want to write about that are going on in the spring would certainly be appropriate. I know that we had a winner for the Human Relations Student Awards Banquet from YAC. And so if someone wants to write about that, or even if our very own winner would like to write about that, then that would be appropriate as well. Right, Lindsay? Right, I saw that in chat. Okay, awesome.
I did want to mention one thing that we definitely would like to write about in our spring newsletter is our upcoming DC conference. We will speak on that in the staff reminders and information much more in depth, but that's just a quick little tidbit right here. Definitely going to have somebody write about that. And then also, I believe we do present to City Council in May regarding our annual presentation. And for the government relations, I can speak on that. I did want to let everybody know that every year we're supposed to present to City Council. It's an annual progress report, I would say. And so I believe that everybody's invited. I do not know if we have officially finalized that date in May. Okay, we haven't. Okay, so just be on the lookout for that date. But I believe anybody is welcome to come and attend and watch. We do need presenters. So I do know that I'll be a part of that presenting group. So anybody is welcome to present. I believe it is 2 other people. We did not get to present last year due to some scheduling conflicts, but this year we're definitely ready. And we also, for the government relations, we need to attend another meeting, and that will, I believe, will be post DC trip, because we attend 2 every fiscal year. So.
Yes, and Madam Vice Chair, there will be another in-state conference coming up that will be in Wrightsville Beach. So for those of you who may be interested in going to Wrightsville Beach for the State Youth Conference, that will be coming up, I do believe, in April. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be getting to that as well farther down the agenda, but that would be a great thing to write about too.
So if there are no other discussions or updates on the committees, we can move on to our annual project updates. So the first thing on that piece is our State Youth Council mini grant for the $500. I have not been able to speak with Addison on that very closely. It hasn't been something we've just really had time to discuss in depth. Ms. Abraha, if you have any information on that, if we have received that money yet, then that would be wonderful if we could. No.
Well, all of the documentation has been submitted to the state. So no, it has not been received yet, but it is en route. So in the meantime, you all can go ahead and proceed or continue with your plans for your annual project that include working with marketing, the marketing communications department. I know Mr. Bell specifically you were going to work with, and then also getting together to determine what's going to be in the packs, the mental health packs that you wanted to disseminate, and some other things that you all had talked about. Ava, you probably remember better than I do about some of those details.
Yeah, and actually moving on to that, we can discuss, that was our next thing. So it was basically getting down to the nitty-gritty details of our annual project. So we are in, well, we're basically in March now, so we definitely need to get the ball rolling and rolling pretty fast. So if we have any, I believe that we were divvied up into 3 groups, and do we have any progress on our slogan? Any ideas? Because I would really think it would be great to finalize our slogan in this meeting so we can have something that's ground certified.
It may help to refresh everyone's memories about who was supposed to be on that particular subcommittee. I thought that actually everybody was going to kind of chime in, right?
Yeah,
Group
I believe
effort.
so. I think the slogan portion was kind of a one big group effort. So let's see.
I had 2 slogans that I was thinking about, but I was kind of iffy about them. If you want to hear those. Okay. I have respect, don't abuse, and violence is never the answer. And I was kind of about them because they may have been somewhat cliche, but those are what I have.
Gifron, could you repeat the first one?
It's respect, don't abuse.
and then violence is never the answer would be the second one, correct?
Mhm.
I really like, I think the first one is really good. I think it's pretty simple. It's quick, but it also gets to the point. If anybody else has any suggestions or ideas. Max, I actually really like that idea. The join us in breaking the cycle of violence, one youth at a time. That's a good one. It is long, but I mean, that's if it's a great slogan, then it's a great slogan. So there's definitely no doubting that. I really like that one. Thank you.
Or it could even be, Max, how would you feel about breaking this cycle of violence one youth at a time instead of saying joining us? That would shorten it a tiny bit.
That would be probably better, yeah.
Okay.
That's Miss Eberhard, I did want to say that's very catchy, and that really it kind of clicked in my head. That sounds really good. So it was breaking the cycle of violence one youth at a time.
Yes, same thing Max said, just minus a few words. And would someone mind kind of recapping what the annual project is? Because remember, this is live streaming and it will be replayed for the general public. And so would someone mind kind of like giving an overview of what it is that your annual project is all about?
Yeah, of course. So our annual project this year is focusing on youth and gang violence, specifically among, as I said, the youth. And what we are trying to do is focus on a plan to decrease the amount of violence within our communities. And so with that, we plan to host interviews with different elected officials and other prominent people within our community, within our youth community, and get their input on how to stop violence and what they see, how to properly handle it. And we also plan to hand out care packages, like little mental health packages, as we did similar to last year's annual project, that will entail different helplines and I believe different goodies, maybe I think it was like some chapsticks, hand sanitizer, stuff like so. Also, I did want to comment on what Jacob said, and Nasi, they both contributed. And I also really like this idea. It's the respect, don't abuse, what's the use? I think that one is also very clever. So we have a lot of ideas, and that's great because it shows that like we're really involved. And the only thing is that we have to decide on one, which is obviously really difficult, but if everybody could say which one speaks to them the most. Let's see, what do you mean by using both? Because I do believe that with the slogan, we were going to have it on the bags and on the pamphlets that we had for our project. So I don't know how we could exactly use both, unless we're going to combine, for example, what Nasi said, respect, don't abuse, what's the use, or shortening Max's idea.
Anyway, kind of going off what you said, like stating what one spoke to us the most. I liked Max's idea, but like the theme of breaking the cycle. I think just break the cycle speaks to the youth a lot instead of like, because one problem within our demographic, we have the problem of not feeling heard by others. So, kind of breaking the cycle it feels like it would speak to our peers.
So Gufran, I really like that. With that, do you mean saying like just break the cycle, or like the entire thing, break the cycle of violence one youth at a time.
It really could go either way. Like if break the cycle of violence one youth at a time, if that were to be too long, then break the cycle would like speak just as much.
Okay, and with what Lucy said, having one on the bag and another on the pamphlet, or doing half of each, I actually like that idea. Having like maybe, I guess that we could have 2 pamphlets. I don't know. Let's say one pamphlet could have helplines, and then the other one could have tips or just general advice. We could do that, and then we could have like one quote on half, and then another quote on half. So what does everybody think about the pamphlet idea, like having 2 pamphlets and then having one quote on half of them and then another quote on the other half? Okay, I do, Nasi did say that there should be one on the bag and the other one on the pamphlet, and it does sound more simple, and thinking about it, it's probably a more efficient way for us to handle our resources, and so we would be less confused as well. Okay, so we can have one slogan on the bag and then another one on the pamphlet. I'm all for that idea. I think it's a great use of like everybody's voices within this meeting being heard and just in general. So if we could, the phrases that I believe we all agreed on were respect, don't abuse, what's the use, and then breaking the cycle of violence one youth at a time. I believe that those are our 2 main slogans that we would like to use. Which one for what item though? Would we like to have the respect, don't abuse on the pamphlet or the bag?
I think it would go well on the bag.
Miss Abraha, I do have a question. With that, would that be the entire slogan? Or would that? So
I was just trying to basically summarize what y'all said. I don't know if that's because when you were talking about, somebody was talking about, Gufran, somebody was saying something about merging the 2 somehow, or let's see, I don't know if that was what she had in mind, or if those 2 would just be broken up the way you all are talking about.
I do like what Nasi said, Miss Abraha, talking about like the summarization, having that on the pamphlet. So I think for the bag, we should definitely have something probably more, I wouldn't say simplistic, but definitely shorter. Probably something just like break the cycle. And then on the pamphlet, I think on the pamphlet, we should have something that's definitely more elaborate, because the pamphlet itself is going to be more elaborate. Whatever you guys think, I think that would be the way that I would approach it, but obviously I would like to hear everybody else's ideas.
I really like that idea, Ava, of the pamphlet being more elaborate and the bag being like nice and short.
So what are your slogans, you all? I know there have been a lot of things in chat.
So From what I can concur, our slogan, so we're going to have two different slogans, one for the bag, one for the pamphlet. And on the pamphlet, we're going to include your summary actually as our slogan. What's the use of abuse, breaking the cycle of violence, one youth at a time? We wanted to include that as our slogan on the pamphlet. And then on the bag, I believe that we all agree on having something that is more simple. So something like just break the cycle, I think just break the cycle is a great way to utilize what our message is and to have it short and simple. Just, yeah, breaking the cycle or break the cycle. So if anybody has anything else, please let us know.
I agree with Ava. Break the cycle sounds really good.
All right. So if there are no objections, I would like to call I believe that I would do a roll call vote to certify our finalization of our slogan. So I would like to have somebody please make a motion to finalize our annual slogan, the one on the bag being break the cycle, and the one on our pamphlet being what's the use of abuse, breaking the cycle of violence, one youth at a time. Gufran, if you can proceed with the roll call vote, please.
Yeah, so nowhere makes a motion, or do you just jump right into the roll call?
I approve of the motion to have both slogans for both things.
I second the motion.
All right, okay. We will now proceed to a roll call vote. Atkins Max Chen.
Aye.
Career Center Nasi Bangweni.
Aye.
Early College Jacob Taylor.
Aye.
Middle College Jayla Page Thomas.
Aye.
Kennedy High Jordan Moore. Kennedy High Jordan Moore.
Aye.
North Forsyth Nicholas Spencer.
Aye.
Reagan High Ava Banner.
Aye.
Parkland High Litzy Castillo Alvera. Okay, cool. And myself, Gufran Abd, aye. That concludes our roll call.
Awesome. So we do have that part of our project finalized. That's great. I just want to review quickly for everybody. On the bag, the slogan will be break the cycle. On the pamphlet, it'll be what's the use of abuse, breaking the cycle of violence, one youth at a time. I think those are great, guys. It's really rejuvenating to have that finalized. So moving down, we have our interviewees list, and it's follow up with the marketing. So I believe that we should focus on the interviewees list. That is a very crucial part, since that, I believe, is one of our main focuses of our project, is producing that video and getting it shown to the high schools across WSFCS schools. So if there are any ideas of who we should look into interviewing, who you guys would like to interview, I have a few of my own. I believe that we should try to interview or get into contact with the superintendent, Miss McManus. I believe that she could provide us great information. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough, our newly elected Chief of Police, Mr. Penn, and our lead counselor over all the schools, Miss Kenya Rocker. I do believe that those 4 people, and we can have as many ideas as possible, probably not as many people as possible, but we can have more people added. But I believe those 4 would be really crucial in getting our point across and really getting information and like logistics. So if anybody has any other people that they suggest, please, by all means.
I think we can also like interview the principals at our school, if they allow. our guidance counselors as well there. And I believe most schools might have a social worker already there. Maybe we can go to them for information as well. And some of the students too.
Would you all be interested in having our mayor interviewed?
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be wonderful. And any city council members that would like to contribute as well, any elected officials.
We have a city council member who chairs the public safety committee for the city council. And we have a couple of YAC members who may be able to get us to help us to persuade him to be interviewed.
That would be great. That would be awesome.
So I would like to ask Jacob and Jada if they could help us out with that.
Yes,
If you don't mind.
we can talk to him.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind talking to him about it.
Thank you. Thank you. That would be awesome.
Okay, great. So with that, I did want to kind of circle back to Jordan's idea of the school principals, students, and counselors, social workers. So with that, would you guys, I guess this would be kind of with everybody, not really even a specific group. Would you guys like to, we can create an email thread and we can discuss further details onto like, would you guys want to do that in groups? Would you guys and your other representative go to your, like to speak to the principal? Jordan, go on.
So I was talking with my principal today actually about this, and he suggested that maybe each of the representatives here could maybe set up a table at lunch or whatever to try to get a focus group going, a small focus group from each school, and we conduct the interviews group wise rather than personal as far as the students or staff. That way, he said it won't be too much because he was concerned with the timing, as that was what my question was about as well. So he wanted me to share that with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. A focus group at lunch, and anybody who would like to give in their input could approach. And oh yeah, that sounds awesome. So with that, I believe as Jordan said, each representative could speak to their principal, head counselor, social worker, ask if they could have permission to set up this table or this little table at lunch. I think that is actually a wonderful idea. We have Councilmember Taylor. Hopefully we will have his agreeal with this project. And then, as I mentioned, the 4 other officials in the beginning. Ms. Abraha, I did have a question with that. Reaching out to the people, as in the superintendent and the chief of police, sheriff, and the lead counselor, how would you suggest that we reach out to them?
Well, I would suggest email, and we can work with you on that. Our staff can work with you on that because we do already have working relationships, of course, with the superintendent and with a lot of the other folks that you mentioned. And so just work with us on that, us being the staff. Send me an email and Erica saying, hey, we're ready to move forward on this. And that way we can be looped in on it. So they'll know that you have our support and that we are working together to help you to have these interviews. And also we need to include Mr. Larry Bell from Marketing and Communications. He may be on this right now. I know he's responsible for getting us on the meeting tonight. Thanks again, Mr. Bell, but he is the one who is the lead producer for WSTV 13. And he would be the person to go on site with you all to conduct these interviews. And I think that it was Jayla last time who said that she was interested in working with Mr. Bell. Wasn't that you, Jayla? Okay. And so I think, again, Mr. Bell, can you hear me? He might have stepped away. But anyway, he would be the person to connect with. So we would just make sure that he's on the emails too.
I can hear you.
Okay. So what do you think is Is that okay to have you linked in on those emails? And I know you probably would want us to be done with these by a certain time frame. And so we need to talk about deadlines and what works for you as well.
Sure, you can add me to the emails, and then we can talk about what the timeline is going to be.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Ava.
Yeah, it does. And I did have another question just for that, like sort of with the interviews. How would you guys like to, this is like for the whole group, how would you guys like to host those interviews? In what place, would we have Mr. Bell come with us to like some specific location downtown, or what do you guys suggest that we should do with that?
Ava, didn't Jordan suggest the cafeteria or someplace on school campuses as per what our principal was saying? Jordan, was that correct?
Yes. So with that, I would assume if we have the focus groups and they do the interviews, I would assume we would take our information and put it in a video together. So it would just be the advisory group meeting up with Mr. Bell to do that, rather than having these students be involved in a video.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. But with like the superintendent and the chief of police, the sheriff, the lead counselor, how should we approach that? Where should we interview them?
I think that's where Mr. Bell would help, Ava, as the time draws near, because they are experts when it comes to the aesthetics, the location, and in terms of lighting and all of that. They think about all those things. And so it could be a matter of interviewing them on site where they work or elsewhere in City Hall. I think that we would just defer to him, depending on who it is that we're talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. That's definitely very informative. And with that, we do, of course, need to create a set of questions to ask the interviewees. So if anybody has any ideas, any like quick ideas that they would like to share for any questions or any topics that we could create questions to, by all means.
And Ava, when we're talking about the marketing department, they would also assist with social media from the city's standpoint anyway, because the city does have an Instagram and Twitter and all of that, Facebook, whatever. And so that would be routed through the marketing department as well.
Absolutely. And I did want to let everybody know, like on the topic of both our departments, Addison was kind enough to create I believe it's it's a when to meet, and it's something that you can fill out and you can say like when you are present and available to meet. She sent out the links to the marketing group, and then I believe the like public relations group regarding this project. She sent those out. So if you guys could please fill those out ASAP, as soon as possible, because like I said, this project, we really need to get the ball rolling. And you would hold like a Zoom with your group whenever everybody or the majority of people would be able to meet on that specific day at that time. So that is something that's very crucial. I will send out the links to those when to meets that she created again after this meeting, so we can have that updated. And that's most definitely one of our most useful resources for this annual project. So I believe that we spoke on, like moving on to the next bullets, I believe that we spoke on our public relations on the social media. Our group that is, Gufran, go ahead.
Great. Just to touch on something that you mentioned, the questions. I was thinking that it might be a good idea if we kind of email maybe a Google Doc or something that we can all edit, and then kind of like have that as a draft of questions, maybe put our ideas there, and kind of just like maybe when we next meet, or maybe over email or whatever suits us best, we can like discuss it and choose the best questions to put on the questionnaire.
I really like that idea. That's a great idea. So obviously somebody has to be in charge of making the original Google Doc. Gufran, since you have suggested the idea, would you please?
Yeah, I'll make it, of course.
Yes, thank you so much. And so with the public relations group related to this project on social media, anybody from that group, have they been in contact with Braxton? Because I do believe that we were speaking on a social media takeover with this project. So if anybody from that group has any updates on that or anything related to that topic, then please let us know.
If someone can email me or give me any of his contact information, I'll gladly contact him about this.
No problem. We can do that. We'll get in touch with you. Like I mentioned before, we'll make sure we do that. Jayla, we'll do it this evening. I will anyway, and link you up with Mr. Bell and with Braxton so that you have both of their email addresses and they will have yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I do believe that that settles regarding our annual project. So we have that Google Doc that will be sent out where we can all add questions, and we can probably over email, since we can get it done quicker, decide which ones fit the best. And then we have the email that will be sent out regarding the interviewees, who in specific we'd like to interview, and the process of setting up the focus groups at lunch. I guess advice on how to speak to your principals and whatnot. I believe that would be great. Ms. Abrahad, is there a roll call vote that needs to be had on any of this information, or can we proceed on to the next point?
You can proceed on. I think the biggest thing that you would have to discuss would be whether Jayla can proceed. But I think that y'all had already voted on her working with Mr. Bell, but that maybe it included Braxton as well. I do not remember, because I know that she was doing the marketing part, but I don't remember how detailed it was, how detailed the previous motion was.
I do believe the motion was Braxton and Mr. Bell. So I believe that for that, we're set and we're clear. We just need to make sure that we keep in contact with everybody so we can keep this project still alive and well. The next thing actually regarding to the project is the YAC packages. So just to refresh everybody, we're planning on sending out packages, and those will include like the pamphlet, which we once again got the slogan on, which is great, and then different care items like hand sanitizer and lip balm. I believe that the mini grant application was sent to everybody in one of Miss Abraha's emails. It was attached, and you can actually see everything that we would like to have. So that's the wristbands and whatnot. So staying on the topic of our annual project also is the posters. Does anybody have any sort of poster ideas that they have finalized or anything? We're all open to hearing ideas, as you guys know. So if there are any not even finalized, but any ideas in general about the posters, then that would be great as well.
I'm working on something on Canvas for the posters, but I will send it and email it to everyone after this meeting, after I'm finished with it, which should be later today or tomorrow. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Does anybody else have any advancements on the posters? All right, if there are no other if there are no other information on the posters, then we can proceed to the dreadful part of this, the timeline and deadlines. So I really do believe that this meeting, we need to set really firm deadlines so we can have this project finalized by the time we want it to. Let's see if you could please remind us. I do believe that you said that there was a week in April that was like Youth Violence Prevention Week. If you do remember that date, could you please specify it for us? All right, so that is April 12th through the 16th. And that is a little more than a month away. So we basically, I would say that we probably have around, not necessarily a month and a half, but maybe a little less than that to really get this project finished, because I think we did agree on setting the final deadline to April 12th to the 16th. So the week before the 12th and the 16th, I think that we should definitely have everything set up, like the posters in the halls. I believe that we should have the video finished so we can display it throughout that week during our schools. So if anybody has any objection or any advice on that portion, on any specific date, then please let us know.
So Ava, what was your hard deadline that you wanted everyone to agree on?
That would be April 12th through the 16th. So specifically, I would say that we need to have that would be the deadline that everything needs to be like done, set up throughout our schools, because that is the week of youth violence prevention. And I just think that it ties into our project really well. But I believe that we should set up everything like the poster should be on the walls, the video, the interviews should be fully recorded. I believe that should be it's the 3rd through the 8th. So that's the week before the 12th through the 16th.
Okay, so the hard deadline would be April 7th?
Yes. I apologize.
That's a Friday.
Yes.
That's okay. So yeah, you all need to vote to make sure that you agree that April 7th is the hard deadline for video completion and everything else that Ava just mentioned. And so, yes, that means getting started on this very soon. But yes, I would highly recommend a roll call vote to make sure everybody agrees.
Yeah, and before our roll call vote, if there are any objections, if people would like to push it back maybe to later in April or May, please let us know, because we understand that everybody's schedules are different, but we really want to maximize the efficiency of this project, but also we want to make sure that it is overall like a great project, looks great, sounds great, everything. So if there are any objections, please let us know. And if there are not, should I make a motion beforehand, Ms. Abraha, to finalize the date to be April 7th?
You can call for a motion to be made, yes.
Okay. I would like to call for a motion to be made, if there are no objections, to finalize the project deadline to April 7th.
Motion to approve the project deadline to April 7th.
Second that motion.
Okay. So Gufran, if you may proceed with a roll call vote.
All right. Yeah, proceeding to a roll call vote. From Atkins, we have Max Chen.
Aye.
All right. Career Center, Nasi Bongweni.
Aye.
Early College, Jacob Taylor.
Aye.
Middle College, Jayla Page Thomas.
Aye.
Kennedy High, Jordan Moore.
Aye.
North Forsyth, Nicholas Spencer.
Aye. Sorry. Aye.
Reagan High, Ava Banner.
Aye.
Right. Parkland High, Litzy Castillo Oliveira. All right. Oh, and I noticed that Jada Taylor came in late. So from Early College, Jada Taylor.
Aye.
And Parkland, myself, Gufran Abs, aye. That concludes our roll call vote.
Okay, great. So our solid deadline for the project to end would be April 7th. With that, I did want to touch a little on the interviews in specific. We probably, this is a question for Mr. Bell. How long do you believe it would take to formulate one big video that contains like all the interviews, like with editing and getting that all like picturesque? How long do you believe that would take?
Depends on how many interviews you're wanting to do, their availability, because you're talking about some high profile people who may be out of town. So it just depends on that. I mean, if we're working on it next week, couple of weeks at least.
Okay, so next week. Okay, I believe that we can confer and we can come back with a more solid date, either over email. Most definitely, we need that more solid date before our next meeting, sorry, but we definitely need to get the ball rolling on the interviews. Once again, more formal discussion can come over email regarding everybody. So I think that those are all our deadlines. If there are any other deadlines that need to be suggested from anybody, then please let the suggestions either in the chat or out loud right now.
I do believe that it's going to be important to decide who is going to be doing the interviewing. So we're going to need people responsible for writing questions. We're going to need people who are responsible for serving as our interviewers. Probably don't need to have a lot of people doing that, maybe 3 at the most. And then those people are going to have to be really flexible in working with Mr. Bell and the interviewees to make sure that they can be wherever they need to be to conduct the interviews. And I think there needs to be a limitation on how many people you all interview. I don't know, just listening to what you were saying, I would think that you should not interview more than a dozen people. But Mr. Bell may think differently, that may be too high. But I'm thinking that a dozen people would hopefully have a good representation for you all. And you want to make sure that everyone you're interviewing represents the diversity that you would like to see, to make sure all cross sections of the community are represented. And so that would just be something that I would recommend that you keep in mind in terms of age, race, gender, all of that. You would just, I think it would be good to have a good cross representation of the community.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that diversity is one of the most crucial parts of this entire project. So with what Ms. Abrahas said, is there anybody who would like to be an interviewer? I definitely know that I would love to take on this position, but as Ms. Abrahas said, we need about 2 more people since 3 is probably the max. The
I
suggestion.
would love to be
I
an
wouldn't
interviewer.
mind being an interviewer.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I'd be an interviewer.
And let's have a 4th person as an alternate, just in case.
Jordan? I saw Jordan's hand first. I don't really know if you were volunteering, Jordan, but
Yes, I was volunteering.
okay. So I do believe that Ms. Abraham, you spoke on having one more alternative, but I do believe we should have two, just in case the alternative cannot be an alternative or somebody else. There's two people out, so Gufran. All right, is there any, I think we're set. All right, so we do have our interviewers. Does there need to be a motion to approve that, or should we just, okay. So I call a motion to approve our interviewers for our annual project. Myself, Ava Banner, Jada Taylor, Jacob Taylor, Jordan Moore, and Gufran Abd.
I approve this motion.
Yeah, so Nicholas just made the motion to approve, and so you need a second.
I second the motion.
Awesome, great. Gufran, roll call vote, please.
All right, Career Center Nasi Bangwani.
Speaking on our annual project, we are done with our general business, and now we are moving on to we have our spring newsletter. Sorry, that's also included within our general business. I do apologize. So we have our spring newsletter, the article suggestions and volunteer writers. We already have our article suggestions. If there's anybody who would like to volunteer to write an article, please do say so.
I can write another article.
Okay, awesome.
I can write another article.
Okay, awesome. So that's Jayla, Gufran,
I can write an article.
Max, Jordan. Do you guys know by chance which in specific, like which article you guys would like to write about?
I'll write about the Black History event that I went to.
Okay,
I know I want to write the one about the DC trip.
awesome. Let's see.
I believe I was planned to do the December 2nd, like March Film the Homeless. So I can write about that.
Awesome.
I could do our presentation to council about the DC trip, if that is included in our annual presentation.
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to include in our newsletter. How many articles do we, I believe we need to have 4 articles within our newsletter, correct? At least 4?
I think that sounds about right. And I thought if we have space, somebody could also, or we could put it as a blurb about the beach trip that's coming up. Yeah.
I would love to write about the SYC conference. So
Okay.
great. We have that. Finalized. We have the people and what they're going to be writing about. We just need the submission deadlines, specifically from our public relations committee. What time would you like us to get the deadlines in? Once again, when is the specific deadline for our spring newsletter? Ms. Abraham, do you by chance know that?
Well, yeah, I was thinking around March the 30th. However, did somebody say they were going to be writing about the annual project?
Yes, I believe that was, I thought that was Gufran. I do apologize, that must have been my misunderstanding, but no, we do not have anybody.
We may need to think about that. I think somebody should write about that just in case. And then once the time comes, once we lay out the newsletter, we can see how that's looking. But I think that that's an important piece to include because that's a huge project. And I know you'd want to have that mentioned in your newsletter. And I do believe Gufran has her hand up.
Yes, Gufran, please.
So with our presentation to council being kind of roped in maybe with our annual presentation, or I know there's a lot of times that we have to go see the city council and it might not be until later after our newsletter. I'd be okay with doing the annual project.
Great. Most likely you all will go before council in May, somewhere around that time. I think that's around late April, early May is when you usually go.
So I did keep that in mind a bit. And with that being said, is there any way that we could push the date for the spring newsletter so we could get all of this information encompassed within it? Or
I was waiting for somebody to say that because with the beach trip, of course, that would be something of the trip that would be acceptable too. It would just be a matter of how you'd want to do that.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
That to be clear now, you're doing 2 presentations to council. One is going to be a presentation about your DC trip. So for those who are going to the NLC DC trip, the other presentation to council is for your annual report. The annual report is the one that's usually later on, like around May-ish. And so the one for the DC trip will most likely be sooner than that. So probably be sometime in April. So there would be 2 different groups, most likely doing 2 different presentations. And the annual report is usually to the Community Development Housing General Government Committee. And then when you present on your trip, your NLC trip to DC, it will be like it was before. You'll present to full council.
Awesome. So with that, I personally think that we should push the date back to maybe if it would be the 24th. I think that sounds like a great date. So I call for a motion to approve the spring newsletter deadline to be moved to the 24th, April 24th.
I motion this request.
A second.
Awesome. Gufran, a roll call vote, please.
All right, proceeding with our roll call vote. Atkins Max Chen.
Aye.
Career Center Nasi Bangwani.
Aye.
Early College Jacob Taylor.
Aye.
Jada Taylor.
Aye.
Middle College Jayla Page Thomas.
Aye.
Kennedy High Jordan Moore.
Aye.
North Forsyth Nicholas Spencer.
Aye.
Reagan High Ava Banner.
Aye.
Parkland High Litzy Castillo Oliveira. Right, so aye in chat. And myself, Gufran Abd, aye.
All right, awesome. So we have certified that deadline. Just to clarify, Jayla, you will be writing about the DC conference, Max, the March for homelessness back in December. Jordan, you will be writing about your attendance of the Black History, that event. Conference, the State Youth Conference, the 21st through the 23rd, and then Gufran, I believe that you'll be writing about our DC presentation. So with all of that being out of the way, we now move on to our staff reminders and information. So the first thing on that list would be our National League of Cities Congressional Conference that is in DC, March 25th through the 29th for 2023. And below are the members that are planning to attend. To read them out, myself, Ava Banner, Litzy, Jeremiah Washington, Max Chen, Nicholas Spencer, Madison Williams, Jordan Moore, Gufran Abd, Jacob Taylor, Jada Taylor, and Jayla Page Thomas. So I believe that we have finalized everything regarding on who would like to attend and who would not, or who can and cannot attend. Ms. Abraha, do you by chance have any information regarding any new info?
Yes, we do. That was not the updated list that you had, Ava. I'm going to read the updated list now. And the updated list includes Max Chen, Jeremiah Washington, Litzy Oliveira, Jayla Page Thomas, Gufran Abd, Jordan Moore, Ava Banner, Madison Williams, Jada Taylor, and Jacob Taylor. That's the updated list.
Oh, okay. Was that sent?
You didn't have the updated list. And so that will be sent, but that is the updated list. So there are 11 of you going. 11 of you will be traveling to DC, provided we get the documentation that we need back from you by the deadlines that we will be emphasizing with you via email. So we're going to need documents signed by your parents and, you know, the usual stuff that you would expect, so that we can make sure that you're cleared for travel, okay? And so you will be receiving that information from me and or Ms. Erica Simon. And so we will send you details about drop off and all of that in the coming days. So just look for that. Make sure you're paying attention to your email. That's going to be very important. Watch your email, make sure you're being responsive so that we can get everything in to ensure that you will be able to travel along with everyone else, okay? So that was the update that I needed to share. So no, you didn't have that information.
I do apologize for that.
That's okay, you didn't know.
The list somewhere, but that's awesome that we have 11 people going. That is more than last time. So that's, I'm really excited to go with everybody. And with that, I did have a question. How will we be traveling to DC?
You will be traveling by airplane.
Okay. And then coming back?
The same way.
Okay. And we would come back the 29th, correct?
Yeah, we're going to send you all of those details. And so just look for that email, because I don't want to take up too much time with the meeting tonight, because everyone on the meeting is not traveling with you. So we'll send you an email. So look out for that from either Erica or myself, okay?
Awesome. So straying from that, the next thing on our information is our State Youth Conference. It is our spring conference. And as it was mentioned, it is going to be held in Wrightsville Beach, which is awesome, great. And as mentioned also before, it is April the 21st through the 23rd. So that is a Friday through Sunday. There were information sent out by Ms. Abraha. It was attached just to kind of clear things up. I believe that you would check in at 7 p.m. on Friday, and then that day there's nothing really, not many activities involved because you're just getting there. There's a walk and some s'mores.
Thank you. Actually, I'm going to defer to Ms. Erica Simon.
Okay.
I don't know if she may want to add anything, but you all really do have the information that we have. The attachments that I added to your email that had the other attachments, just make sure if you're interested in going, that you take a look at that. And we will share further details again with those who may be interested. Everyone's not interested in attending, so we don't want to bore anybody. But for those who are interested, can we just see a quick show of hands before Ms. Simon takes over rather? How many are interested in going? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see 6 of you who are interested. Okay, 7. Let's see. So, Ms. Simon, is there anything that you would want to add to that? And while she's unmuting, would you all please drop your names in chat as well? That would help us to keep up with it too. If you're interested in going on the Spring State Youth Council trip to Wrightsville Beach in April, please put your name in the chat. Thank you. Can you unmute, Erica? Or are you having some difficulties?
Okay, you actually said exactly what I was going to say. If you are interested, put your name in the chat. We are getting those details together. So as soon as I get those, I will send them out to it within an email to you, giving you more details and letting you know how we will go forward with getting everybody registered and there.
Thank you. And right now I'm only seeing 6 names in the chat. So I think that maybe everyone who's interested, who's on the call tonight, and of course, there may be those who weren't able to join us tonight who may be interested as well. But thank you, everybody. Thank you. So
Yeah.
more details to follow. More details to follow.
Yeah, watch your emails, guys. As always, watch your emails. And just to say, for the last spring state youth conference, I highly recommend going. It was a great experience. Nasi, Litzy, and I were all able to attend together. Definitely recommend signing up. It is one of the best like team building activities that you can possibly go through. And it's at Wrightsville Beach. It's a beach walk. I mean, who doesn't like the beach? So with that, I do not believe that there are any other upcoming events. Productive. Thank you guys for showing up. I know that it was a bit rocky at the start, but we got everything settled. So with that, as I've repeated, watch your emails. There will definitely is April 7th. That is the hard deadline, but the interviews, we really need to start getting those rolling. Once again, I'll create that email thread with everybody who would like to be an interviewer, with Mr. Bell and Mr. Braxton. And with that, I would like to, if there are any other questions or comments or concerns, then please, by all means, this is your time.
Ava, I sent the questions draft to you for you to email to everyone. So guys, check your emails and then put any questions you'd like to be asked in the interviews.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gufran. You're very quick with that. So
that was quick. Ava, Gufran, thank you for leading an outstanding meeting tonight. Mr. Larry Bell, thank you so much for getting us straight with our technology tonight, with our Zoom link. We appreciate you as well. And thank you, Ms. Erica, for helping to get everything coordinated too. Thank you.
Yeah, so very, very excited to keep things working. Very excited to have you with us, Ms. Simon. I can't wait to see where you can lead us with as a group. But with that, I would like to call this meeting to be adjourned at 7:37. So with that, if Ms. Abrahoff, you have any final words or anything, but
we're good. Y'all have a good evening.
Awesome. Good night, guys. Thank you so much.